Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now, for the last couple of weeks I've been riding this, the Honda CBR500R, a great looking beginner friendly bike. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I found out about the bike in that time. So thanks to those nice people at Honda UK, I've been riding this bike over an extended period of time, and I've learnt quite a bit about the bike, not only good things, but those little niggles as well that you may not pick up if you just have a 1 hour test ride on the bike. So in this video, I'm going to give you my list of the things I found out about the machine, not only the things I love, but also some of those little niggles, as I say. Alrighty, first up, the negatives then. As ever, I've made a comprehensive list to make sure that I don't forget anything. And I have to say, I've really struggled to find negatives to say about this bike. There really is not much to not like about this bike. So here we go then, the things I found. First thing, the seat on here. Although it's sculpted quite nice, and actually it's quite nice the way in the position that you sit on, the seat itself is quite hard. I think if you're going to go touring on this bike, your backside might start to complain after a couple of hours. I've ridden the bike for about an hour's ride and I start to shift around, so the seat is quite hard, just something to be aware of. Okay, next up, and these are in no particular order by the way, the side stand on here. When you put the side stand down, it catches on the foot peg, and in fact, in order to put the side stand down, you have to kind of fold the foot peg up with your leg and then get the side stand. It's just a minor point, but once you've ridden the bike a few times, it just starts to get on your nerves a bit. So again, small point, but side stand catches on the foot peg. Certainly it did for me. Another thing, and again you may disagree with me on this, but this bike is actually at the budget end. £6,099 this bike will cost you, which is a good thing. But that does mean they've had to cut some corners in some areas, and one of those areas I think are the wheels and the exhaust, which I think look a bit cheap and nasty. So the wheels on here certainly I think is an area where they've cut corners. I'm not sure you could do too much about that, and you may disagree with me, but I think they look a bit cheap. And then the exhaust, I don't like the look of that either. It actually sounds quite good. It could be a little bit louder, but I think it looks a little bit naff, particularly from the rear end of it. So I think if I got the bike, I'd definitely put an aftermarket exhaust on. And then the last thing I've got on my list of negatives, and again this is something that so many new bikes suffer from, the back end on here definitely needs a tail tidy. If any bike needed one, it's this. I mean, on here you've got the LED lights, which are amazing, and of course you're going to have to relocate the number plate as well, but that lot all tidied up, I think the back end would look so much better with a tail tidy. Alright, that's it for the list of negatives. That is all I could come up with, and believe me, I was scratching my head quite a lot to come up with those. Alright, well let's not dwell on the negatives then. What about the positive points of the bike that I found? Well, there are loads of these, so once again written them down to make sure I didn't forget anything, and again not in any particular order. Okay, the first thing, the engine on here, very smooth engine, particularly for a twin. I thought a bike like this would be a bit thumpy, maybe if you get the wrong gear at slow speeds, that sort of thing, but this is a very forgiving engine, nice and torquey actually for a low power bike, and I found this for a twin to be very, very smooth indeed. That's something I really liked about the bike. Hi, just a quickie, we'll be back to the main video in a moment. Lots of people have been asking me, whereabouts can you get the t-shirts, hoodies, etc. that you sometimes see me wearing here on the channel? Well, they come from our website, that's www.themissingtonflyer.com, and there not only can you get the t-shirts and hoodies, but you can get sweatshirts, you can get mugs, you can get stickers, and there's all sorts of new stuff being added in the future as well, so it's well worth checking that out. Not only is my merchandise there, but also there's lots of articles, information on my bikes, my contact details, all that kind of stuff, so it's well worth checking out. That's www.themissingtonflyer.com. Alright, let's get back to the main video. Next up, fit and finish. Honda are always good at this, aren't they? And Japanese manufacturers in general pretty much are. But this bike in particular, again, is a bike that's at the sort of budget end of the market. Really nicely finished. Number one, things like the engine casing, got lovely this sort of bronzed finish on there that I really like. The paint on here is lustrous. Even the plastics feel like good quality. They've got this sort of carbon effect on them, and they look really, really good. So fit and finish, and the anodized top adjusters on the forks, the switch gear, everything about the bike just feels quality actually. Not cheap, not built down to a budget, and I really like that about the bike. Next up, easy to ride. I mean, this is aimed at the A2 license friendly class, or people maybe getting their first big bike, moving up from a 125, that sort of thing. Well, this, even though it looks quite an intimidating sports bike, it is super easy to ride. Nothing difficult about it. Nice low seat, get your feet on the deck, feels nice and light, lovely and smooth, nothing intimidating about it at all. Really, really easy to ride. I love that about the bike. Next up, great LCD screen on here. It's not TFT, it's kind of inverse LCD, so white on black, but it's got everything you need on there, nice and clear to read, and I would say as well it's got a proper fuel gauge, which I absolutely love. It's also got a gear position indicator, which I think is a great thing for a new rider. Basically, it's got everything on there you need and nothing else besides, so I really like that about the bike. Next up, economic to run. Whilst I've had the bike, I've not been sparing the horses, I have been thrashing it. That's what I like about smaller capacity bikes. You can ride them to the limit of their power, if you like, and you can really have some fun on them. Even though I've been doing that, thrashing this everywhere, I'm still getting over 75 miles per gallon. I mean, that is just absolutely brilliant. So economic bike, not only to buy, but to run as well. I really like that. And whilst we're on that, I already mentioned it, but the price on the road is $6,099. I mean, that's a lot of bike for the money, so that's a great thing. Did I mention the light handling? The handling on the bike, again, is lovely, particularly around the back lanes around here. Whilst I've had the bike, it's not been particularly lovely weather. It's quite cold today. It's the depths of winter that I'm recording this, and it has been wet, which is why the bike looks a bit cruddy at the moment, so sorry about that. But handling-wise, it is beautiful. Even on these relatively cheap tyres, I found that the bike is pretty confidence-inspiring. Around the twisties, really, really nice. Again, if sports bikes are your things, this is a great introduction to that. So the light handling. The riding position is very comfortable. I mentioned in the negatives that the seat is quite hard, but actually the riding position is nice. Even though it's sort of got clip-on style handlebars and it is a sports bike, it is not uncomfortable as sports bikes normally are. I'm used to riding my Panigale. That thing is uncomfortable. This thing, you do sit up quite high if you want to, quite upright. It doesn't hurt your back at all. Even when you're tucked down underneath the screen, it's still a nice, comfortable bike to ride. So have no fears on that score on this bike. Next up, I put here, no lack of power in real world scenarios, even on the motorway. Now, I've ridden this quite a bit on the motorway, and I have to say, it goes absolutely fine. There's plenty of power for it to cruise along at 70 miles an hour. If you need to overtake, it's got plenty of power there. So again, real world, even though it doesn't put out a lot of power, 47 HP, as I say, for the to be beginner license friendly, it doesn't feel like it's got a lack of power. It's just got the right amount for riding on the road, if you like. You might run out of power, well, you definitely would on a track day, but if you're riding to work or riding for fun at the weekends, this thing is absolutely fine. And then last but not least, in fact, maybe my most favourite thing about the bike is just the overall looks of the thing. I mean, just look at it. It looks like its big brother, the Fireblade. I think, you know, if you're not into bikes, the uninitiated eye, you would say this was a big, mean sports bike, wouldn't you? I think it's just a lovely thing to look at. So anyway, there we go. That's the things I noted as positives. So there we have it. That's the lessons I've learnt over the last couple of weeks as I've been riding the Honda CBR500R, an absolutely brilliant beginner-friendly motorcycle. And I think I wouldn't be going too far if I say that this is probably the best A2 license-friendly bike I've ridden to date. Now, I've ridden them all, but this thing has just been fun to ride. It looks great. It handles nicely. There really is not a lot not to like about this bike. I recommend it to you. Alrighty, that's it for this time. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, thank you very much indeed for watching. Here on the Missed and Flyer, I don't just do bike reviews, but I do bits and pieces about how to look after your bike in the garage. I do trips and tours at home and abroad. I do monthly bike news. Basically, anything and everything. I'll try and cover it here on the Missed and Flyer. It'd be fantastic to have you join me. If you've not done so already, hit that subscribe button below, and that way I can see you on the next video. Alright, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missed and Flyer. Cheerio.